Why I ride a motorcycle. Because baseball, cricket, and tennis only require one ball.
And now, straight from the Law-Abiding Biker Media Studio,
out of sunny Yakima, Washington,
we bring you another episode of the
number one listen to motorcycle podcast.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
We're in your head.
Feel it, Lurch.
Ooh, I feel it.
Oh, yeah, guys. Welcome back. Law-Abiding Biker Podcast. That's right. The podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
That's right. Bikeaholics, we do. Just have one question for you. What are you waiting for? Mount up. Let Lurch take you
On another wild-ass ride.
That is right, guys. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law-Abiding Biker Podcast. Your
high-tech redneck.
That's right. The man, the myth, the legend. In stereo. Lurch, great to have you back in the studio. We've had you back for a couple episodes now. And Lurch has been gone, as we discussed. And it's just good to have him back in town and not working remotely, and we can get him on the sofa here and get a few episodes, get him back in the
saddle.
Do you feel back? Because you came unprepared without a poem, but then you found one last minute.
Yeah, I'm going to have to work on it. I've been behind the scenes doing a lot of audio editing, and so I haven't actually been on the podcast a lot. So
because he's remote,
good to be back. Yeah, I've been doing some secret squirrel stuff around the state. Finally back home.
Straight up, dude. All right, so we got a episode for you guys here. We've got some of our main content. Just to give you a heads up, we got a couple announcements to make, but we are going to talk about Scully helmets. We did a podcast. We'll talk about that. Scully helmets going possibly bankrupt. I need that. And we have a song for that, by the way.
Good.
Pretty sure we do. Let me look.
It's in there somewhere. I'm sure you did a little research and found something, didn't you?
You know I did. All right, and the other main topic is the episode. By the time this podcast airs, it will be a little bit old news, but I don't think it's old. It's the Sacred Steel motorcycle show Discovery series that premiered its first season, and we'll talk a little bit about whether they're going to renew that, what we thought of it, whether it was actually worth watching, worth your time, and that kind of stuff. We'll get into that. Real quick announcement, guys. New free video. As you know, we're constantly pumping out new free videos on our YouTube channel, lawabidingbiker.com/YouTube. Please hit that big red subscribe button, guys. It really helps us move into the future as we're up to nearly 30,000 subscribers now for that social proof. And again, if you're subscribed, I've told you guys in the past, you can get alerts right on your phone and stuff that came out with a new free video, so you always don't miss these, because I tell people these in the podcast and they weren't aware. Some of these that I announce have been out for literally 6 months, and you might not hear it, but I like to announce them on the podcast too. But anyways, do us a favor, subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's blowing up a little over 4.5 million views now on that channel.
Unbelievable. I remember when we hit 1 million, we thought we were a big deal.
Yeah, we did. We were like, that is, and then it just spiraled from there. It seemed like the first 1 million came slower, and then same with subscribers, once you start getting more subscribers, then it just starts
it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. Just gets bigger and bigger.
Exactly. That social
starts
proof.
Picking up rocks and dirt clods.
Absolutely, buddy.
And small children.
New free video out, guys. Install bullet rear turn signals, LED and brake light bar on a Harley Davidson touring model. We did it on a street glide, but it would be good for ultras and road glides. It's all the same, those rear turn signals. And we put LEDs on, we blacked them out. And we did it on, guess whose bike we were blacking out?
Let me see. Was it
straight?
Chewy?
Dude, you got it. That's right. Chewy blacking out his bike. And we decided to do LEDs while we're back there. lawabidingbiker.com/Harley signal light bar, all one word. Or how else can they find anything they want? And they don't have to wait and email us. How can they find it immediately?
Just go right to their Law Abiding Biker web page and hit that search bar, put in what you're looking for. In this case, just put in turn signals or LED lights and hit the search. You'll be amazed what it brings up. And then that's funny because we've got so much content on there. When we get questions through email, a lot of times I go right to the homepage, put in what I want to find out, and it pops right up.
Yeah, we know
I use it.
Yeah, we use it. I do too, constantly. At first, we could remember the URLs now, and you don't always know all the content I'm putting out. Like I just did 3 reviews, and I'm editing those videos on jeans and riding shoes, and you won't even know one necessarily.
Well, I subscribe to the YouTube channel, so I know.
It does pop up, so you have to stay in the know. You're right. That's not a good example.
And everybody out there should subscribe to the YouTube channel because it'll pop up and it'll tell them.
Yep, and they won't have to wait for us to find out on
a podcast or an email
6 months later
or something. Yeah,
I agree.
Get
email
in the know.
drip. I like that. The email drip.
It's a little drippy around here.
It is. It's unlike the other drip that you don't want. You do want to be on the email drip, lawabidingbiker.com/email club to get in that free drip. And it's not a painful drip. All right, enough of that. That search bar is in the upper right-hand corner. Let's talk about of our website, every page for a reason, guys, because it takes us a little bit to get back to you with the amount of emails we have coming in, so you can find it now because you want everything on demand. America, the world wants everything now. Yeah. And in fact, everybody, well, not everybody, many of the people that don't know us that actually find us on YouTube think that everything should be for free and everything in life should be for free and everything on YouTube should be for free.
It'd be great if somebody gave us some money to afford to do it. It's not free to put it up there.
95% of our content is for free.
Right.
We sell a few. And me and Lurch are chuckling here because we'll get off on a tangent a little bit, but we do get once in a while somebody that finds us organically. Actually, most of our YouTube, a lot of it is organic. People just find us searching for DIY Harley videos or whatnot or reviews. And we'll get, it's rare, but we'll get a comment from somebody that says one of our like Harley, right? Our Harley handlebar video. So the one on YouTube is a promo for our 4 purchase videos. Little do those people know that we've already put out hundreds of free videos to sell one. And everything else is 100% free, but they'll just be an asshole and just put a real quick comment like, it's just a freaking commercial or something like that. Or
this video doesn't tell me shit. It's just a commercial.
Right. Yeah. And we nicely respond and we send them a link to say, well, here's 100 and about 180 other free videos. If that's all you're looking for, here's some free stuff for you. Here's a free podcast for you. Here's a free website and all this stuff. And oftentimes people come back and apologize. And if you get nasty, we just ban you.
And I think you've gotten better when you do those promotional videos on YouTube, letting people know that that's what it is,
right? So
that they don't get to the end and then realize it wasn't an installation video.
Correct. We tell them up front now. Yeah. 95% of our content is for free. This is one of our high-end for purchase videos. We sell a few for obvious reasons, and I say that real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. I get it, but some people are just jerks, and we get very few. Our YouTube channel, we moderate it heavily, and we deal with that. We have no problem just banning people. We ban you if you act like a jerk.
Yep.
We just put you on the ban list. Don't need you. Goodbye. Anyways.
In the early days, I used to worry about banning anybody or deleting their comment.
I know.
Now I don't even worry about it. If it's offensive or vulgar, I just delete it and ban them.
You're not worthy. You'll never comment on this channel again. Go elsewhere.
Yep.
Don't need you.
That's not what we need.
That's not the community we're building. Right?
Damn Skippy.
Here's our voicemail.
Eric from Tampa, Florida. Can't wait to hear you guys back on my podcast loop, if you will. Question for you. I wanted to get your feedback on the helmet downfall for Scully. I wanted to hear you guys. I was listening to one of your older podcasts. You guys were praising it. I was wondering if any of you guys put money down on the helmet. And, if you did, what are your guys' recourses on it? I personally didn't. I felt like it wasn't going to go through to begin with. It's kind of a too good to be true. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion of the group that you had in one of the older podcasts that said they might be putting their money down on it. Maybe some other people that are listening have feedback on what they're doing to get their money back, or if it's even going to be possible. Can't wait to hear you guys again. Thanks.
Oh, yes. And that was a stellar quality voicemail. That was Eric from Tampa, Florida. Simply went to lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. You can do it from your phone. It's an app. You can do it from your computer microphone, your desktop, your laptop. It's a service we use. And you can leave a stellar voicemail that may make it a cut. He's talking, what episode was that we talk about Scully helmets, Lurch?
I think that was there it is, LAB-126.
That's right. It was titled Scully AR1 motorcycle helmet. We actually did versus Harley Boombox Infotainment Center, which we compared the two if the AR1 was worth it. So if you go back to episode 66, lawabidingbiker.com/66, we will have it there and also link to it in the show notes for this episode, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode number this is, we'll get you the show notes and links. So that was a voicemail. We appreciate the voicemail very much, Eric of Tampa, Florida. And so let's talk about this. The Scully helmet real quick before we talk about it was do you remember a lot about this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
At the time when it first came out, it was pretty impressive looking. It had some features in it. There were heads-up display and Bluetooth, all kinds of good stuff.
Yep.
But it was, were they doing a crowdfunding? I can't remember.
They were doing an Indiegogo campaign. And I will tell you real quick, some people, and he alluded to it, that he thought it was a bunk deal in the first place.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the voicemail thought that, he believed that it wasn't going to go anyways. I can tell you, because I follow a lot of Indiegogo and crowdfunding stuff, I will tell you Indiegogo is pretty good. Very few. They have very stringent ways that you set up. And
boy, if they did, I mean, that's a lot of work with all that video and promo stuff they were doing and showing off what the helmet was capable of.
They spent millions.
Yeah, that's a lot
millions.
I mean, I suppose it could happen, but it seemed legit to me anyways. I don't know that it was a scam to begin with.
No, I don't think it was a scam to begin with. I think it was legit and some things got off track. Startups, that happens with startups, and you are taking a risk on those sites. But I will tell you the majority of them make it through to give you the product that they set up, because I follow a lot of them. It's rare that you hear of a legit looking one. And like I said, Indiegogo and these services won't just let anyone. You have to have certain things in place before you can do a campaign, because they want people to trust in Indiegogo campaigns. They don't want just a bunch of crap. I want to make a two-headed dildo. Or, I guess that's already out. They don't want you just to put crap on there is what I'm saying.
What's in your brain right now today?
Straight up, dude. One for me.
What? You get sidetracked? You see something shiny?
I did see something shiny, dude.
Are you looking up double-headed dildos while we're talking, you weirdo?
That's okay, yeah. All right, I got that fixed. We had a little soundboard issue.
Oh, the soundboard.
But most of the Indiegogo campaigns do make it. You don't have to sweat that too much. But at the end of the day,
you're gambling.
A little bit.
Here's the thing. I mean, it's just like stocks. You're getting in early, especially in these Indiegogos where you pledge a certain amount of money and you get something in return, and it may be worth it. If you get in on the ground floor, you could be one of the original investors and do real well. I mean, think about the original investors in Microsoft. Several of them, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah,
but you're not making money back on an Indiegogo. All you're investing is, what you're saying is, I believe in that product. I want that product, and I'm willing to pay before that product is developed. And by paying, as soon as you make them, I get one of the. I'm willing to invest
something out of it. I mean,
right. But what I'm saying is, you're not investing in stocks and long term. You don't get. All you get is your product. You're basically, if me and you started a company, we wanted to make something. We wanted to make a brand new motorcycle, and we would go to an Indiegogo and say, "Hey, we believe in this new high tech 2-seated motorcycle, whatever it is. Believe in us. Give us money. You'll get one of the first models, but we need money to get it to production, and we need money to." You're basically investing in the company, but you're not investing long term. Once the company goes, you don't get any returns. You aren't investing in like stocks or anything like that. You're just, all you get is your motorcycle, and then you're done with the company. You don't own a part of the company. You don't own. All you're doing is saying, "I believe in you. I'm willing to give you money up front because I know eventually you're going to produce it, and I want to help you because that's a badass idea." That's what those campaigns are. Same with Kickstarter and all those.
All right, so you've taught me something today. So
no, it's okay.
By doing that, is it potential for you to get this product? Let's say the Scully, and I think it was $1,000 or $1,500, whatever it was. Are you hoping to get it at that price because maybe down the road it's going to be more expensive? Yes,
usually on Indiegogo campaigns and crowdfunding, you will get it at a discount because you're willing to invest before it's created. And you'll get T-shirts, and you'll be one of the very first customers with it in your hand before, as it comes off the production line. Right. So other people who buy it before, may have to wait 6 months for them to catch up with production. You will be one of the very first. You will be the cool kid with it in your hands as soon as it's off the production line. And they were selling those for like $500 cheaper than it was going to go to market at later. Right. So
I'm tracking.
Yeah, that's kind of how those campaigns work. But the risk is that absolutely you take the risk that if the company folds, you are not owed any money, and you took a risk that you wanted to help them and you trusted them A lot of trust behind that.
And I've never invested in one of these, but I would imagine that when you put your money down, you're clicking a box or agreeing to something such as that.
Correct. You are well known. You're taking a risk because you want to help see this product to fruition, basically. A lawsuit filed anyways. The Scully helmet, it was a badass idea. It had the heads-up display. It had all kinds of GPS.
You could actually see behind you. It had a rear view.
360 field of view.
Yep.
To the rear, to the front. And it was a great idea. I know other companies will be picking up on and piggybacking off some of that technology because everybody wants that. Anyways, in August, a lawsuit filed by a former bookkeeper at Scully Helmets accuses the company co-founder of using Scully corporate accounts as their personal piggy banks to rent an apartment, visit a strip club.
Sounds legit.
I'm not department. No, but visiting a strip club, I think we're good to go there.
Well,
no, we're teasing.
No, seriously, you're taking clients. You can.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of that stuff, that entertainment stuff. If you're taking potential investors or clients, you could take them to a strip club. And that's legit.
But we are not going to. I get you, but it looks bad.
Well, I'm just telling you, if we do something, I'll take somebody to a strip club.
Yes,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Right.
I'm going to take them. I'm going to meet them down in Portland at the Acropolis
with investor money.
Well,
see what I'm saying?
know.
That's the problem. I get what you're saying. But you know what I mean? It's a fine line between if they're investors and they're investing in the helmet, they're thinking all the money should go to the helmet. If you want to use your private funds to entertain possible investors.
Okay, don't have me there.
I know.
I agree with the apartment strip club.
It just looks
strip
bad.
Club sounds completely fine.
Right.
To me.
Lurch is good with the strip club.
Next.
All right. So also to rent a Lamborghini and buy 2 Dodge Vipers and 4 motorcycles among other personal expenses, which again, it's investor money. Scully raised nearly $2.4 million in an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, mostly from supporters who hope to be among the first to get the company's high-tech helmets. It appears likely none of those investors will get their money back as the company has shut down. Now, the lawsuit was filed in Superior Court of California in San Francisco County by one Isabel Faith Hauer. Lawsuit says she worked as an assistant to Scully co-founders Marcus and Mitchell Weller. You'll see on the internet a lot picture of Marcus Weller right there, Matt.
And I'm guessing the other guy's his brother.
Yes, exactly. Marcus and Mitchell Weller, and lawsuit was filed when she objected to fraudulent accounting practices. In recent weeks, major investors in Scully ousted the Wellers from management. So investors are going, you're out. We don't want you anymore, and shut down the company. Oops, I didn't mean to switch that yet, Lurch. Let's open that because that was an interesting one. And an unsigned update posted by the company on Indiegogo on Friday says the helmets will not be shipped. The only recourse for consumers who supported the company through its crowdfunding campaign will be through bankruptcy proceedings. It's unlikely unsecured creditors like those who ordered helmets will get anything. There's the prototype of it. It was badass looking.
It was pretty neat. It was very promising. It was a good idea. I imagine somebody's going to come up with something similar. Now, if you put your money in a coffee can and bury it in your backyard like I do, you wouldn't have to run this risk and possibly lose your funds.
Right. Yeah, but I don't mind investing in stuff like that's how startups, I'm trying
to be funny.
I know. You are funny.
Well, thank you. And not just funny looking.
Would you like the drum roll? Just straight up.
It's a little late now.
It is a little late.
Pretty anticlimactic at this point.
According to the lawsuit, which seeks both compensation and punitive damages, Faith Hauer, the one that sued him, was in charge of keeping the books at Scully and reported to the Weller brothers. The lawsuit lists numerous expenses, she says, were improper, including buying a Viper, right, we get it, and buying replacement Viper after the first one was damaged in a crash, buying personal devices, iPhone, Apple Watches, GoPro cameras, and others, paying rent, cleaning for the Wellers' San Francisco apartments, as well as restaurant meals, grocery bills, personal travel to Florida, Hawaii, $2,300 in paintings, rental of a Lamborghini during a trip to LA, and other expenses, she said, were not proper business expenses. The case is scheduled for a case management conference December 28, 2016. Attorneys for Wellers are not yet on record. What other link did I have here? that's the Indiegogo. We're good there.
What a narc.
I know. And here's the deal.
Just quit.
I know. We got to keep it in perspective. You know, this lady says like Lurch says, all jokes aside, you know.
I'm sure this never happens in any other businesses.
No.
Come on now.
And it's a fine line between.
What's she getting out of it?
Right, correct.
She's suing him?
She is.
What's she looking to get out of this deal?
Money, probably, especially from investors. You know, if she can.
Oh, is she going to be like a good saint and get everybody's
star
money
witness.
back? Or is she just going to sue him and get something for herself? I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. And again, some of those expenses, you know, that's here or there when you have investor money and you need a certain amount of money to live to while you're a startup company.
Right. If you quit your job to
right.
work on this.
It depends on what the investors told them.
Agreed to.
And said this, you know, there's all kinds of legal contracts when you have investors saying, okay, we're going to invest in you. Part of that is to live for the next year, or 100% of that money has to go to product. You have to live off what you already have. I mean, I don't know.
I don't either, but you bring up something that might be important for somebody that's thinking about doing a campaign like this, is you may want to lay this stuff out ahead of time as you plan to use some of those funds for living expenses because you're going to quit your job and put all your time into this.
Right.
Up front, it might be good to lay this all out so that investors don't feel like they've been screwed.
Correct. Yes. Good call. And so some restaurant meals, and like I said, a lot of that could be legit.
Sure.
You know, and they're talking about Lamborghini. You know, I don't know.
I don't know about the Lamborghinis.
GoPro
The strip club
cameras
sounds
seems
totally
legit if you're making videos. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with the GoPro. You know, I mean, there's lines being, you know, they're interweaving in there that are going to have to be sorted out to figure out, you know, what was. But again, these are just articles where we really don't know all the details unless you looked up the court case yourself. All right, let's look at this one. Reports that Scully has seized operations. Do you want to go through any of this?
It's hard for me to see from here. You read it.
The website TechCrunch is reporting that Scully Helmets has ceased operations. Apparently leaving 2,000 would-be early adopters empty-handed after investing anywhere from $1,400 to $2,000. Those were the Indiegogo people. So it sounds like there's about 2,000 of them. If you guys are one of those and you're listening to this podcast, could you comment, please, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode number this is, and that'll get you to the show notes, the comments. We'd be really curious if you were an investor and lost money, not to tease you, because I was almost putting money down on this, but so that we can know, and also if you've gotten any emails of the investors or anybody possibly any recourse for you to get your money back, because you could share it with the community.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to do a class action lawsuit.
Right, yeah. I don't know if you can on an Indiegogo because you're signing away, you know, but I'd be curious. Please comment if you do, and if you've heard anything that possibly gives investors that invest in the Indiegogo any kind of recourse. The company was the subject of a lot of buzz in the industry with the AR1 helmet. We talked about that, the heads-up display. Let's get down here. It raised $2.4 million in Indiegogo. Since the story 2 years ago, there has been no good news coming out of Scully. Almost exactly a year ago, we reported that Scully had issued a video to try to reassure anxious customers about the constantly delayed deadlines for delivering a product. Time and again, the company changed the date for shipping helmets to consumers. More recently, reports surfaced that company founders and brothers Marcus and Mitchell Weller had been ousted from leadership positions by major investors in the company. Personally, let's see. I was trying to find, let's go to this one, CNN Money. This was interesting. Let's scroll down here. So it was an interesting, in as far as investors they'd had another, I remember reading this. The Wellers used the corp. They say the shutdown came just days after the company and its founders, Marcus and Mitchell Weller, were sued by their ex-employee. Again, we're talking about her, a disgruntled bookkeeper. The Weller used the corporate entities of Scully for fraudulent manner. And again, it was in San Francisco. So filed in their court. Marcus Weller told CNN Money, "We plan to vigorously defend ourselves against these claims. We strongly believe we'll be vindicated in the end. We look forward to the truth coming out in our day in court."
I'd like to know if it went under because they were misusing funds or if they ran into some type of production issues or technology issues. I'm just curious why it's shut down.
Well, this is
leading us to believe that it was shut down because they were misusing the funds.
You're right. Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, and it was just absolutely impeccable timing, Lurch. I'm just going to say
Thank you.
might be back in the saddle, even though you were a little rusty. Carlos Rodriguez, former vice president of marketing for Scully, said that he and investors fought to the very end to try to salvage the company. Marcus's vision was nothing short of amazing, and as an absolute travesty, it had to come to an abrupt end, and that customers now have become victims, he said, referring to co-founder Marcus Weller. Rodriguez said the first round of venture capital. So not only did they do Indiegogo, they had venture capital tied up in this. As we've talked about, investors. Funding came from Intel, INTC, and Tech 30 and Walden Riverwood Ventures, but they couldn't get a second round to keep the company going. He said that Weller Brothers refused to re-sign as required by the would-be investor, who he would not name. They were offered a golden parachute, and they refused to take it, said Rodriguez. This is the coolest product that could have been. It's a travesty that Weller's egos got in the way. But Marcus Weller denied this. It's actually untrue to say that we refused to re-sign, he said in an email to CNN Money. We re-signed effective as of July 12th, which was prior to the helmet, that the second round of funding was to take place. Scully developed, the $1,499 motorcycle helmet. Okay. And Rodriguez says that 3,300 helmets were sold, but only about 200 shipped. So that's actually about 200 out there, actually. Those helmets will no longer have their GPS features, so that got shut down, but they still have functional cameras allowing 180-degree vision and rear view camera that he described, literally eyes in the back of your head.
Interesting. I wonder if those 200 helmets will become collector's items or if they're just worthless now.
I think you can't even get support on anything on
True.
it. You know what I mean? There's no parts, the camera works. That's cool.
I wonder what kind of patents these guys have.
True that. That's a good point too. This is interesting. There might be patents, dude. We realize that there's many unanswered questions, and this is a very upsetting situation. Reads a Scully statement. We are truly sorry. The failure of an Indigo startup is a very unusual situation, according to Indiegogo spokesperson, especially since Scully went on to raise an additional $11 million in venture capital funding.
Oh, wow.
So see, this was big time. And I'm trying to think one of these articles, Lurch, if I can find out which one it was. No, we already did that one. Let me see if I can find it. No.
Well, I'm guessing somebody's going to swoop in, and these guys, I imagine, are in dire straits and are going to end up selling off this company, I would think.
Right.
And so somebody may come in and buy this thing up and rename it.
They may, or they'll just start from scratch and take some of the technology
depending on the patents of
what the investors own.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to say.
I read somewhere in this last night. I can't find it now, but it's okay. That's a funny video.
It is.
God, that YouTube video, guys. If you have not seen that, Hitler reacts to the Scully AR1 helmet shut down. Oh, we haven't seen that one. We only saw the one where he liked the helmet. He didn't see the shutdown. So they did we'll have to watch that later, dude.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
No, so he's pissed about the shutdown. Oh, no, that was the one where he's mad. What is he going to do now? And all his friends are going to... Yeah, we'll have to watch it to see if it's the same one.
Yep.
They've done that, a couple different ways. But I did read in one of these articles that they were having, obviously, a startup company, production issues, and they needed more venture capital, and then they didn't sign or whatever. But anyways, we could beat a dead horse there, but probably not. Anything else you have to say on that, dude?
Not really. I mean, I finally just got a helmet that has some Bluetooth speakers in it, so I think I'm pretty cool.
Dude, yeah. Straight up.
I mean,
cool.
I've been rolling with a half helmet for a long time. To have something like this is just kind of is more than I would necessarily need or want, but I get it. It's cool. If you're a techie guy, there's a lot of things that are very beneficial in it, especially that rear view camera where it drops a little picture down, like I think it was like the bottom right or bottom left of your screen or your visor,
right?
So you can see what's coming up behind you. I guess it's nice to know you're about to get hit before you get hit. Maybe you got a few seconds to get out of the way.
To see your music up on that same screen.
Yeah,
scroll through your phone music, your playlists, and
it's neat.
GPS directions without ever taking your eyes off the road.
Yeah, there's
other companies that are going to
benefits to it. Somebody's going to either redesign it or they're going to buy this out. And I mean, that's the way technology is going. That's the direction we're going down the road. And if you Especially, I could see, because it's a full face helmet, which is more, I guess sport bike riders tend to wear a full face helmet more often. And so if you're riding a bike that doesn't have a boombox system or the system that the Indians have now, you can have that
Right.
on your sport bike, and you can have that, all the extra features that it gives you.
The capabilities, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, guys, so we appreciate the voicemail that led to that, covering and doing the research, and we've beat a dead horse.
Do we know if Matt Pass put some money down on that? I know he's the one that originally brought this to our attention.
I don't think he did, because he texted me and he would have said something.
Yeah, but he would have. Yeah, he's the one that turned us on to this, wasn't he?
I almost did it, Matt.
Yeah? Were you close?
I was so close, but that was a lot of money, and I was like, I have a Schuber C3 and I have everything I need, and I have a boombox. I just can't see it. So I didn't.
But if you had a bike that didn't have all the goodies that yours has now, it might be worth it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Even if I was somehow won the lottery, I would get it either way, just because it'd be cool to have. It's a badass piece of technology, and maybe you wouldn't even use the boombox, you know?
Right. You can just do it all right there in the helmet.
Right. Not have to take your eyes off the road ever, you know?
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Oh, you know who we appreciate, Lurch, very, very much? I bet you know.
I was just about to take a sip of my beverage here.
Never mind.
Hold on. Let me set it down here. Hold on. Okay. Who do we appreciate? We appreciate our patrons.
Oh, you know we do, dude.
And we thank Chris McPhee of Scotland.
That's the
Thank
music.
you, Chris McPhee from Scotland.
Is that Irish or is that Scottish?
Well, it's kind of both. It just
it's a mix.
It starts out Irish and it turns into Scottish.
Skyrish.
Yeah.
Skyrish.
It's the best I can do. It depends on what kind of whiskey I'm drinking. If I'm drinking an actual Scotch whiskey or if I'm drinking like an Irish whiskey.
Isn't that awesome? We have people from Scotland, dude, straight up supporting us as patrons, guys, from all over the world.
McPhee, that's probably McPhee.
McPhee, yes.
Yes. He's from Aberdeen in northeast Scotland.
Shout out Scotland.
We would also like to thank Bill Hauser of, we don't know where he's from, didn't say, and Brady Den of Henderson, Nevada. And he is a top tier donator.
Thanks, guys. Patrons, we appreciate it. lawabidingbiker.com/patron, Patreon. They took action. They want to make sure and support us. They appreciate all the time and effort we put in. Tons and tons of hours with our videos and our podcast. They want us to keep moving on down the road. They don't want this platform to go away. They see the benefit of it, and they took action. They pledge a certain amount per piece of content. That's right.
Hey, wait a minute. There's one more up there. The way the buttons were, the way it was laid out, I didn't see it. Kevin Carley of Rapid City, South Dakota.
Rapid City, baby, where we stayed when we went to Sturgis. And the reason I'm playing the Scottish music is it's fun. I went back and forth. We appreciate our patrons so much, guys, and we're so involved with them in the private Facebook group. The only way you can get in there. We sent him T-shirts, and he was worried about the shipping expenses over there. I said, nope, you don't worry about that. When you sign up at your level, you get a T-shirt, damn it.
That's right.
And you're going to rock a T-shirt, and we shipped it there. Stickers, all the goodies that come along with becoming a patron. We'll be able to talk to him in the private Facebook group. But we went back and forth. Funny story. It's a little sidetrack, but people will appreciate it.
Before you sidetrack, I think there's one more. The way it's laid out there is quite a bit different. Usually you just have three, but if I look in there, there is Preston Sunday of Owasso, Oklahoma.
Sorry about that. Good eye. No. Somehow I screwed it up when I drug it in there, I'm sure.
Quit messing around the show notes, man.
Preston's a top tier.
Yes, he is.
Not only gets all the other benefits, but gets access to our premium videos.
Or purchase videos.
Very nice. But it was fun with, that's where I got that. I had to play that little Scottish bagpipe song. But real quick, so I went back and forth. You know how involved we are with our patrons. So this is a fun little biker story. But we're very involved with them, and we give them a warm welcome. We try to give them a real custom welcome. And Lurch is involved in a lot of that behind the scenes when people sign up as patrons. But I went back and forth with Chris McPhee only because we don't get one every day from Scotland. And, I
saw some of the emails back and forth.
Did you see some of those fun? Yeah. So I was like, so I started teasing him. I said, my wife cannot know that we have patrons from Scotland. We have others from Scotland too, but he was the most recent one that signed up. And I told him, I said, we cannot let my wife know that I have connections in Scotland because I will go bankrupt because she'll immediately want to take a trip there because my wife is a frickin' Outlander.
She got me turned on to it. I remember one night I was here podcasting and we had dinner. She asked me if I'd seen the show. and I went home and started watching it. It's actually a pretty damn good show. So she's got me
you hooked on it.
Got me hooked on it too. I think she likes a man in a kilt with a beard.
She does.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And because
you're the farthest thing from a Scottish guy.
Oh my God, dude. And so
I don't know. You got a little bit of red in your hair.
I got a little Irish in me.
Yeah.
A little Irish, not Scottish, but Irish. Yeah.
Close enough, right?
Yeah.
Although Chris McAfee Chris would probably disagree.
Probably, dude. I'm sure he would disagree heavily. So I emailed him back and told him, we can't go there. And so he emails me back and says, hey, we got some great riding over here, but they're about to throw salt on the roads because it's winter and we're not going to be able to ride anymore. And he said, I'll send you a picture of me riding my Harley in my kilt. I go, do not send a picture because my wife will probably divorce me, move over there and marry you. So you cannot send any kilt pictures because my wife is a fan of the kilts. So anyways, I thought everybody would find that to be fun. But that's some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, how close we are, the extra access you get that we like to dish out to our patrons, guys. All right, so let's pull this up, Lurch. Let me close some of these tabs. We're getting out of control.
Too many
tabs here.
Too many tabs.
Let's talk about the Sacred Steel. Why don't you want to start with it? I got this up here, but you can kind of talk about this stuff here. You good with that?
I suppose. So Sacred Steel Bikes is a new show on Discovery, and it follows a club, I guess, but more about the people. So the main guy, his name is Jason Wilson. He's a union sheet metal worker by day in the East LA area, and he's started building bikes with him and his buddies from Douche Larouche Motorcycle Club.
Douche Larouche.
It's a funny name.
It is a funny name.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the club. I can't give you any.
You're a douche. It's just fun to call you a douche right now.
Yeah, I can't give you a lot of insight into it. I know they call themselves a motorcycle club. They don't wear a three-piece. Mm-hmm. They just have a patch, I think, that says LaRouche or Douche or something.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
Everything a club is, but they don't wear patches, three-piece patches.
Cool, no problem. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they are they tend to be heavily tattooed and bearded, and and that's fine. That sounds like your typical biker, but not. I don't think these guys necessarily are. They're more of the newer. I don't even know how to explain it. Kind of the newer crowd, the younger guys. They're not old school, but they like the old school bikes. Or the bikes they're working on their show tend to be the older bikes, and they kind of throw it back. One of the last ones I just watched, they were building a reproduction. I think it was towards the end of the series, is a reproduction of a Dan Mann bike, and Mann's he's an artist that you see a lot of in like Easy Rider, those scenes where you're riding through the desert and they got like a ghost horse riding next to him, or there's one in particular like
that's one of the mid episodes.
Yeah, but I mean that's the type of bikes that they're building, more of a chopper style, right? Chop down bike. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So they're out of East LA area. I don't know if you said that, but yeah, Douche Larouche. And so they did 6 episodes by the time this podcast airs. All 6 episodes, because I think the finale was episode 6. I think the finale will
be out too.
It already was.
Yeah.
It was the season finale was October 6th already. So by the time this comes out, we'll see. We'll talk a little bit if we have time about a possibility of a season 2. But I watched all 6. I've been following it. The interesting thing is here's the deal, and I haven't emailed them back. You know what? We're a big platform. We're the number 1 listened to motorcycle podcast in the world. We say that humbly. That's because of our audience and the support that we get via patrons to keep going and pushing hard. But they got a hold of me. The
Discovery or Douche Larouche?
No, the Discovery marketing of some sort.
Very interesting.
They got a hold of me. I think I emailed you about it.
I think you did.
And I didn't look up them, and they got a hold of me, realizing that we're the number 1 listened to motorcycle podcast. They're trying to promo this thing way back when it first aired, episode 1. And this guy called me on the phone. We talked. I said, yeah. He wanted to get Jason Wilson on the podcast. And I don't know what happened, but I don't go begging for people. You want to be on my podcast? And if we allow it, if it's a fit for audience, I'll let you be on my podcast. But I'm not going to go banging down your door to
promote your stuff. I'm giving you as big a benefit as you're giving me. So it's a two-way. If you want to be on, he called me. He got a hold of me. I was like, he's got balls. Cool. Let's do this thing. And he was going to have Jason Wilson on.
and do an interview, and we could find out about this show. And he sent me a bunch of promo stuff, extra videos and links to some media stuff to find out more about him, some behind the scenes stuff. And we talked back and forth, and then just stopped. And I told him, I even made a thing where, oh, don't worry, I'll adjust my schedule so we can get him on the show, because it needs to be time sensitive. You know what I mean? Because the show's airing right now, the season's airing.
Yeah.
And then never heard another thing. I never emailed him back to go, what the heck? I never, you know what? Like I say, they can get a hold of me. But I don't know either. This Jason Wilson guy was injured, but I don't know if that was filmed last year. You see what I'm saying? They're so far ahead. So
yeah, he went down.
He did, but was that last year or this year? Because you know how they film those. This isn't current shit.
No,
dude. Sometimes
they filmed that last year.
That's what I'm saying. So I was thinking, well, maybe he couldn't get on because he got injured. Who knows? They still have, I'll still get them on if that's something they want to do. And maybe they realize there's not going to be a season 2, so it's not worth promoting now. You know what I mean? Maybe they got word through the grapevine, the promo companies, that, hey, it's a flop and it's not going to go a second season, so shut down all promo connections and we don't need any further. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know. I'm just speculating. But here, so anyways, Staker Steel Bikes, like you say, it's a bunch of guys, elite individuals. It's kind of, it's entertaining.
Yeah, they're kind of, I know what I was trying to think of earlier. They're almost kind of like hipsters a little bit.
Right.
Right. With the beards and the tattoos, that seems to be really popular these days.
It's the California thing.
Yeah.
It's California. We love California, but it's the total.
Well, we got it here too.
We do.
It's not like a long-haired tattooed dude that's a biker. When you see him, you don't necessarily think bikers. If they weren't around their bikes, I'm thinking hipster.
Right. Yeah. Good call.
Does that makes sense?
Because look at the hat he's wearing.
Yeah,
right.
It's a little bit different. I'm not speaking poorly of it. It's just a little different. I picked up on it.
Right. Yeah. They've got all kinds of different guys in there, like metal fabricators to high-end Beverly Hills real estate associate, artisans. Anyways, what they have, guys, is a shop. It's kind of a brick building, and they all have full-time jobs. They all go here after work every day, pretty much, and on the side, like us, we have full-time jobs. That's some of the similarities to us.
Well, he had Sacred Steel Salvage,
right?
So am I right in thinking this is his shop, and they started doing bikes out of it as well, and his brothers from his club are helping build them?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I took from it.
And it's their clubhouse too.
Okay.
The Douche Larouche for that area, clubhouse. And so, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And so they all work. He works like me. He works a full-time job, and then I do Law Abiding Biker every day off, 14 to 16 hours. You spend a lot of days off doing it, like today, a day off working on bikes and filming. Well, they do the same thing. He can't leave his full-time job. I can't leave my full-time job because we're not even close to what we would need to make for me to do that. We cover expenses and we're doing better each day, but providing more. But he's, and he tried it before, but he failed. And so he kept his job, and then he's trying it again. And I don't know how he hooked up with Discovery. I don't know how that works, but obviously he knew if he got some publicity on Discovery that he might be able to make a go at it.
Sure.
That's like free advertising, big time advertising. He was back, if you do some research, he did a biker build-off one time. So he has been on Discovery, and he won a biker build-off. That was the last time, forget what year that was, that we saw of Jason Wilson. And then, like I say, his shop has failed, and his bike building has failed. Mostly, a lot of people say it's because of his lack of business sense. Not that he can't build bikes, because he's obviously very mechanically inclined, and he definitely has an eye, but he can't sell bikes and run the business end of it. So he's given another shot. That's what the series is about. Working his full-time job, everybody working his full-time job, these guys meeting up, and everybody's got a different skill set, just like here at Lab. We all have different skill sets that we bring to the table. Matt is a wiring guru. That's one of the things he brings. I'm the tech guru, Rick brings a lot of, he runs the store. He brings all that, and he's a smart son of a bitch too. Justin with the mechanical stuff. So that's just to name a few. Everybody brings something to the table. So they're doing this, and 6 episodes is what it aired. And I will tell you that they are, I'll give you my take on the show. It is entertaining. It entertained me. I was watching it. So number one, because that's what we do. I don't have a lot of time to watch TV. I rarely ever watch TV, but when there's a motorcycle related, just like Harley and the Davidsons, I watch that series. I watch this series so that we can do a podcast on it. And
Because we know our audience is watching these shows as well, and they want to know our input or our take. So it's important for us to take the time to watch them.
Right.
But I agree, it is entertaining because the guys are they'll have personalities, they're big personalities, and they're interesting to watch their interaction between them.
Right. And the bikes are fun. Yeah. We're mechanical guys. I like seeing people grinding shit and the motors. And
it seems like with this and a lot of the other shows, though, it's less about the bikes. It's more about the entertainment. And
You're
the guys
right.
Goofing off and having fun. And I can only imagine that the producers are just pushing them to do things that are entertaining. And I think the actual bike takes the backstage to the entertainment portion.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to watch it if you just show, right?
Right.
It's not going to sell commercials. You're right. If they're just working on bikes and showing the
but
intricate mechanical, you got to
Exactly.
show people fighting and getting on each other's nerves.
Throwing garbage cans at each other.
Oh, yeah, throwing garbage. Oh, we're behind schedule. That was one of the interesting things that Jason brought to the table is he teased that a lot. You know, you could tell he was making Orange County chopper jokes. He's going,
they do that with
are
Gas
we on
Monkey
the
Garage
line? Do
too.
they?
Yeah, the Gas Monkey Garage is the same thing. You know, we're building this car. We got a week to do it. We're behind schedule, and everything they're doing is to create some tension for the viewer.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, are they going to get it done in time?
Right.
Who cares?
No, but see, that's the thing.
know.
He makes fun of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So Gas Monkey Garage does what OCC does.
Yeah.
Always
OCC,
on a time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, I was reading some articles. The funny thing is, he made a lot of fun of that. He would purposely do it on camera, like, oh, are we going to get it done in time? And oh, now we're going to go to the quick clip of getting it done in time. And, you know, it's kind of funny. Funny thing is, he found himself in that very situation where he couldn't even joke about it anymore. Because you saw in the episode, and that's what a lot of critics write, is the very thing he teased about OCC, if you watch the 6 episodes, he actually got himself in that for real predicament.
Got himself
to where
in a
it was
time
like,
crunch.
oh God, and people were getting irritated and they couldn't get along because they were in a crunch. He got himself in the very situation that and that's what, you know, some different critics saying stuff. And I think I kind of saw it too. Again, we don't know how much of that is true behind the scenes on exactly what kind of crunches and deadlines they're on and things like that. Here's the deal. I will tell you, and I'm just saying this, so we'll give you our take at the end of whether it's worth the time or not, but they're building chops and choppers in the real sense of choppers. You know, they're not pulling frames out of a box like OCC from some company that built the rolling chassis, or they built the frame. These guys are taking frames from Harleys and stuff, and they're chopping them and changing the necks and all that kind of stuff. It's the real sense of chopper. And there's some old school bikes. I will tell you that these bikes are not for everybody. They are very awkward. They're cool looking. It's something that you could ride to the bar and back, maybe an hour to go get a burger. These are not comfortable bikes. They're not extremely rideable bikes. These guys, they're not riding like we do. They just aren't. That's cool. And that's not talking bad about them. These guys are hanging out in East LA and they're riding a little bit, but they're not riding 3,000 miles in 6 days like I did to Colorado on these things. They're just not made for that. The pegs are way up high. They're chopped back. They're leaned out, you know. And that's not a put down on them. There's they're really cool looking. I would love to have one in my garage, and I would love to take it out and run downtown and you know, run short rides with my brothers. But obviously that's what a chopper is. It's not for serious, hardcore, long distance riding. That's what they make touring bikes for. Okay. So it's not a put down on that, but they are very, very, very niche bikes. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
I would agree.
I don't think there's a market for that.
Oh,
I think
no.
that's why he's going to fail, dude.
They
haven't sold any of those.
I think there is a market for it, but it's
not a big market.
Not a big market. It's not like your typical street glide or something somebody's going to go down and buy. They're specialty bikes. They're something that somebody's buying for
somebody
the look
with money
or the art, or somebody just loves a particular bike.
Right.
So you're going to be able to sell them, but how often are you going to be able to sell them, and can you sustain and make a business out of doing it? I don't think so.
interesting point is neck bubble.
Is that me or you?
That was me.
Oh, weird.
Straight up neck bubble, dude.
I heard it.
Interesting thing is, at the very last bike in the season finale, they're realizing that they need to do a rideable bike. And I get it, he's artistic. I know I'm artistic in my way with videos and video production and stuff like that. He's artistic in building choppers, but you also have to do something that is consumable and something that people want to purchase. And he's realizing you can build all these badass choppers. It takes a very unique buyer to want to fork out that kind of cash for something that he can only ride around town and 1 hour rides. And so they realized in the last episode that aired in season 1 here that they needed to make more of a production type bike, that they needed to build something that's cool. You can trick your bike out. I tricked my wide glide out, but at least it could be ridden farther. You know, you can take and make small changes, but when you're putting 23-inch wheels on a bike, or you're raking them out, you are changing the comfort, the rideability, the handling. It's for show. It's for show and riding around town. It's not for those longer rides and for comfort. And so they actually did the right thing. And I think he's realizing if you're going to make a business out of it, you can do some of your really high-end cool stuff for those niche customers. But if you want people to buy your bikes, it has to look badass, but it has to be highly rideable. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's cool that you can make it look cool. And I know he probably wants to go and do all his artistic abilities, and make what he wants to make, but that's not how you run a business. Trust me, I get to make some videos that I want to make that are really creative, but there's a lot of times we just have to make videos that people want to see because those are the one that gets the views, or those are the ones we can sell. Of course, I'd like to go out and make all exactly how I wanted to do. And same I'm just trying to be comparative here somewhat, but he's going to have to buckle down and make badass bikes that are rideable, or I don't think he'll ever make it. And they may not have made it because the last episode they were dumping whatever capital he had left into the business.
They were actually scavenging some of their other bikes to come up with
yeah.
Well, they had a bike called the Taco Bike or whatever. They pulled that motor out to put it in their new one because they had no capital left to do it. You almost have to come up with something that you can sell to the masses. That is, I mean, I like you're saying, this guy's artistic. He wants to make one-offs, but you got to come up with something that has that flavor, but is marketable,
right?
So that you can make money and have a company. Now, then on the side, maybe you have a specialty section where you build these one-offs and you sell them occasionally, so that you can put that passion and that artistry into a few bikes. But to build one-off specialty bikes and expect to make a living on it, I think it's going to be pretty hard to do.
Right.
I mean, if you even look at, you were talking about Orange County Choppers earlier, they had a steel shop and they were building the occasional one-off bike, but what did they end up doing in the end is they made a production bike to sustain that business, and then they built the other ones for fun. And a lot of times they built that for the show. They built it for a customer.
Right.
So they get a big corporate customer, or they're getting money because they're doing the show to help subsidize that. But you got to have some type of marketable product to the masses. Unfortunately, is that selling out? I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing that's what this dude thinks is, if I make something that everybody wants, it's selling out. I want to make what I want to make. And God bless you if you can find a way to
do both. Is what you need to
do. Awesome.
Right.
I think it's hard to do.
If they keep building those bikes, I just don't see it happening.
No, and you mentioned earlier that there was some talk about maybe he didn't have the business sense, and that might be that part of it. He's the metal guy. He's the artist.
He's the artist, right?
He's the artist. He can make and the bikes are cool. I like what he's building.
Oh, I think they're badass. Like I said, I would love to have it. Yeah.
Love to have one. I don't know how often I'd ride it.
It'd be something cool to show my friends.
Yeah, it would be for around town, and because the seats are super narrow, the bars are tucked in.
They're raked out.
It's a chopper.
It's a chopper.
It's a chopper,
and not made red for riding long distance.
Did guys ride them long distances back in the day? Yes, because that was the bike of the time.
A young man.
Yeah, a young guy.
Or you're stopping a lot. I mean, the tanks are only like 2-3 gallons.
Yeah, they're small tanks, rigid frames. I mean, they're not. Back in the 60s and 70s, that was normal. But now you have a touring bike that has great shocks,
Right.
big fuel tank, comfortable seat.
It's not raked out,
It's
handles well.
ergonomically designed. It handles well. For me, I would have to have two bikes. I'd have my road glide, or you guys street glide, whatever, your touring bike, and then something like this, something fun to ride around. I think we'd all like to do that, but how many of us can afford to do it?
Right.
And
it's a novelty item.
It's a novelty. So if he sells one bike every couple of months, how's he going to make a career out of that? I don't know. It's tough. I feel for him because he wants to be, do his own thing and be an artist, but how do you make money doing it?
Right.
And the way he's doing it is he's got his regular job. He's got a steel shop. And maybe that's what he's going to have to always do, have that regular sheet working job and then do these on the side. I don't know how you make a career out of it.
Right. I think he's realizing that. Yeah. And, it's, and you can tell the guys, you can only do that, where he's working his guys and, trying to figure that out, schedules. And you can see a lot of them you get little hints that they're having problems at home. Like the one guy, I forget all their names, but he was like, dude, I haven't been home in like 2 weeks of my, wife and kids.
Yeah. When you stop ignoring the family and you're burning the candle at both ends, you're going to not only have problems with your family, but you're going to be tired and you're going to start having problems with your brothers.
Right.
Because you're with each other all the time when you're not working. So you're tired. You're not talking with your family. It's tough. I don't know. It'd be hard to pull that off.
Yep. We're burning the candle at both ends, but we're still doing it at least here. We're not at a separate shop. We're not separated for our families, and we're not doing it you're not here every night. No. I may be working up here, but I'm at least.
But you're in the home.
In the home, right. It's a different deal. They have a separate location. And I know some of those nights he's working till 3 and going to work at 7, 8 to his union sheet metal working job. So that's tough. Before we close it out here, let's thank, of course, we love our patrons, Lurch, those are our number one supporters of the show. Those are the foundation. Those are who we chat with so close, but we never balk at a flat donation. If you want to leave a flat donation, lawabidingbiker.com/donate.
We've got a few donators to thank. Bill Hauser from Location Unknown. Alejandro Guevara. Let me re-say that. Guevara. So let me go right back to that, Alejandro, and start over. Alejandro Guevara of Hialeah, Florida. Arrowhead Photography of Lakewood, Texas.
Lakeway, Texas.
Whatever. Richard Gross.
You said wood.
Richard Gross of Julesburg, Colorado. Aaron Garnett of Conifer, Colorado. And
Aaron Jarrett. Jarrett, you said Garnett.
Well, it's Garrett, not Jarrett. It's a J, not a G.
Oh, is it Garrett? Okay.
So
sure?
Let me go back to Aaron Garrett of Conifer, Colorado. And he made a donation after asking a question on our contact form. So we appreciate that. Thank you, Aaron. And Malcolm Godfrey of Mexborough, South Yorkshire, United Kingdom.
Sweet. All over the world supporting us. That's right. Shout out all you guys that help support us via a flat donation. If you ever think about it, we would love to have you as patrons too, and build that close relationship with you. So with that said, let's close it up. Thoughts
on the show?
The show, again, the other thing is too, he's getting into a market that's been saturated for years. Everybody and their brother is trying to open up their custom bike shop. We've seen it in our town. We've seen it all around. Everybody's a custom bike builder, and I'm certainly not saying they aren't. I'm just saying everybody and their brother, when OCC came out, all of a sudden, everybody's a custom bike builder and everybody's got this and that. And then you saw everybody go, and only the strongest made it, and many are still struggling. And so that's what I say. He's getting into a market, especially with those kind of bikes, that is going to be very tough niche to become popular. I know he got the cover Easy Rider on one of them. That's, if you want to get popular and you want your bikes to get out there, you really should get on the Law Abiding Biker podcast, because magazines are nothing anymore. I don't say that. I know they have their place. But when you look at online, dude, online is where it's at. If you want to get spread, dude, you get way more traction out of being on this. Seriously, on being on a podcast or our YouTube channel than you would ever get out of being on the cover. I probably bought an Easy Rider magazine 11 years ago. I don't know any of my friends, and I am around a lot of bikers that buy Easy Rider magazine. It's not that big a deal. To some people it is, but I don't think it's money well spent. So I know a lot of people think, oh, he got an Easy Rider. Clearly that doesn't matter because he's still not getting business. He still hasn't sold any of his bikes. So it's cool. It's a cool thing to say, but not really getting any traction. So I just think it's a tough market. Like we've already discussed, that he needs to probably build bikes that ride good too. I will say my opinion is it's worth the watch. I think it's some cool bikes to see. It's good fun banter between the guys. You get to know some of the personalities. It's entertaining. It entertained me. Grab yourself a cold beer, watch the 6 this season. And to wrap it up, we're not going to get into it. I was going to go through some articles, but this is long enough. There is, as of the time of this podcast, no definitive answer on season 2. They haven't wrapped a deal. I don't know if it's going to go to season 2. If we hear anything, we'll put it out to you guys. Just a real quick blurb on an upcoming podcast. But that may be the last you see of the old Sacred steel bikes. So what say you, Matt, to wrap it up?
I agree, and I'll say it quickly, is that the show is entertaining. The banter between the guys is fun. It is what it's meant to be, which is entertaining. The bikes are cool. I like them. As I stated earlier, it's from a business standpoint, what you just said is they're going to have to come up with something that's marketable to the masses and fund the business. And then these custom bikes can be a side project, a side venture where they build them and sell them occasionally, but it's not going to be something that they make a living on. So from a viewer standpoint, I say watch it. You'll be entertained, and hopefully, maybe there'll be another season.
And if they go season 2, heck, maybe that guy will get a hold of me and want Jason up on the show up in here, and he can get some real traction right here on the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. There you go. Want to support us, Bikeaholics? Call to action. Don't worry, we have a dedicated affiliate banner page. Please don't forget, guys. It really, really does help support us, and it's so easy for you to do. You can simply go to lawabidingbiker.com/banners, BANNERS. Simply bookmark that page and call it Help Lab or anything. It has all our affiliate banners there. No additional cost to you, but if you click through any of those banners and make a purchase, it does give us a small kickback. We get a small commission. Helps put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road. I said it for Lurch. He's the one that coined that phrase. That's right, guys. Bookmark it in your web browser. Help Lab. Call it Lab Banners, whatever. Anytime you're going to purchase anything on Amazon or any of the motorcycle stores or anything, guys, it helps us out. All right, how can they get a hold of us, Lurch?
Well, they can call us on the Lab podcast phone if they're old school, 509-731-3548. Again, that number is 509-731-3548. You can leave us a voice message, or if you're new school, you can go on the internet from your computer microphone at lawabidingbiker.com/voicemail. You can always leave us an email at lawabidingbiker.com/contact. And don't forget to get into the Law Abiding email club free. That's /email club. And if you can't afford to monetarily support us, by all means, leave us a review on Stitcher, iTunes Radio. Please leave us a nice 5-star rating and help us get up in the ratings and help more people find us.
Nicely said. That's right. More bikers around the world can find us, guys, so they can join and become part of what we call
the Biker Revolution.
Yeah, look at, he's right back in the saddle. Hot to trot, getting his game back on. Lurch, it's good to have you back in the studio. Very nice to have you back on the sofa, guys. All right. Hope you're out there getting some freaking riding, guys.